Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to showcase every phasing technique in Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, in case you don't know what phasing is, it refers to the in-game exploit that allows you to stand inside builds. While phasing, you can shoot, edit builds, take damage, basically you can do anything you do normally except place another build piece in that spot. Anyways, phasing is without a doubt one of the most useful tricks in the game. Not only can it help you secure kills while you're on high ping, but it can also help you W key more effectively. As far as the format of the video goes, I'll show what the technique is, why it's useful, as well as an in-game clip from a pro player utilizing it. Lastly, I'll also be separating the sections by build pieces, starting with the wall facing tricks and finishing with the cone ones. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. The first phasing move we'll look at is what Billy Biceps calls the diving ramp phase. To perform it, just get your opponent's wall low, build the ramp over your head, run and jump into the top of it, and break the wall with your pickaxe. The forward momentum you get from hitting the ramp should propel you straight into your opponent's box. From their perspective, they won't have any time to react or realize what you're doing. Plus, if they try to build, you can place a ramp of your own as you phase through for a little bit of piece control. It all depends on your opponent and the current situation you are in. Oh, and one last thing to spice it up is you can also do this with an edited ramp or cone in the same exact fashion. Next wall facing trick is a stationary one you'll perform with a door edit. Start by building a wall to the left of your opponent's box and editing a door into it. From there, open the door, wedge yourself between the door and their wall, and slowly inch forward while spraying the wall down. Doing this correctly will allow you to phase through the wall where you can get a cheeky shot off on your opponent. From their POV, they won't even realize you're phasing through the wall until it's too late. My favorite part about this trick though is how insanely simple yet versatile it is. On top of being able to build and edit while phasing through the wall, you can also back up out of it to stop phasing and avoid taking damage. Pretty broken if you ask me. Third phasing trick is another stationary wall phase with a floor. How it works is you place a floor in front of your opponent's wall, edit 2 tiles on it diagonally, wedge yourself between the wall and the outer edge of the floor structure, and then inch forward like in the last trick while breaking the wall. Again, you'll end up inside the wall and can do anything you want to. This trick, by the way, also works by editing 3 tiles of the floor and standing up against the tiny railing like this to phase through. Anyways, what's unique about the original one is that you can perform it on the ground like we just saw, or you can pull it off on someone a level above you. The maneuver is the exact same, you just have to be positioned below them, edit the floor on top of your 1x1, and snuggle your character into the little crevice. I think this version is a lot more effective since your opponent will not see it coming at all. Last wall facing trick is this absolutely insane one from Misfits Clicks. All you gotta do is get your opponent's wall low, set up on a ramp facing their wall, and break the wall with your shotgun as you run straight on into it. The only reason this works is due to the turbo building delay Epic added a few seasons ago on placing build pieces in the same spot. When timed correctly, you can run and jump straight through most builds without a ramp or cone like we saw before. This makes phasing much harder for your opponent to see coming and almost impossible to defend against. So if you have no builds or you just want to surprise your opponent, master this ridiculous technique ASAP. Moving on to floor phases, and we'll start with my favorite one from the top down. To do it, replace your opponent's cone, edit the 2 front tiles of yours up like this, and crouch underneath the very back of it. From there, break the floor while standing up, and you'll instantly phase into their box. I really like this move because I have not seen anyone use it since like season 9. On top of that, I like that you can edit back the cone again while you're under it, and perform the same phasing technique by moving towards the side of the cone. This one takes a little bit longer to set up, but still works just as well. So although it may be a little weird, it's definitely useful to know. Next floor phase is actually 2 phasing moves in one since you have to be inside your own ramp to do it. Like you just saw, begin by stealing your opponent's cone and replacing it with a ramp. Then edit the ramp in half and reset it while you're standing near the back center in order to phase through. Finally, just break the floor you're above and you'll drop down onto your opponent every single time. Yes, you heard that correctly, this phasing trick works 100% of the time regardless of the other person's ping. That means unlike the last time I showed this when traps were in the game, this is easily one of the most underrated techniques out there at the moment. Last floor phasing move we'll look at is from the bottom, not the top. This one is really simple, as all you have to do is crouch under your opponent's floor on a ramp, spray the crap out of it while standing up, and you'll then be able to phase through the bottom of their 1x1 with ease. From their perspective, they'll try their best to turbo build you out, but won't have any way to counter you. The only thing you have to remember is that you need to be on a ramp to phase under their floor, not jumping up on a cone or anything like that. Onto the ramp phasing techniques, and up first is the classic stationary ramp phase. I personally think this is the most important phasing trick in the game just because of how versatile it is in high level games. To pull this off, position yourself against the back of a wall and then place a ramp on top of the grid you're standing in. This will allow you to phase through the ramp, in which you can edit builds and get a cheeky shot off in your opponent. You can also jump up and stop phasing to protect yourself. From your opponent's POV, they'll be expecting a free shot while taking your wall, only to take damage out of nowhere. One other way I like to use this is to box up next to my opponent and use the ramp phase to yoink their wall. Nobody ever expects this at all, plus it's way safer than trying to wall replace out in the open. Second ramp phase, which isn't really any different, is a trick I've seen some pros use where they position themselves at the back of their box, so when their opponent does the Mongraal Classic on them, they can phase through and catch them off guard. I'm not gonna lie, this one is a little harder because you need to correctly predict where your opponent will edit. However, it becomes a lot easier if you think about which side will give them a right hand peek and plan your positioning around that. Third and final ramp phase is an overlooked one you can perform while in the middle of your box. How it works is as your opponent is above you trying to steal your floor, stand at the center of your 1x1, build a ramp on top of yourself so you start phasing through it, and then edit the floor above you for a quick shot. Additionally, once you're done phasing, you can crouch or walk forward under the ramp to stop phasing through it. The best thing about this trick to me is how insanely hard it is to counter. Not only can you not build anything in their box because they're phasing, but you can also barely see the person doing it. Thus, for those of you looking for a relatively new phasing technique to master, you're not going to find anything better than this. To round up the video, we'll look at cone phase tricks, starting with this one right here. This technique is best used when your opponent is on top of your 1x1 and you're gonna edit him down. Rather than doing what you normally would by editing out all of your walls and having your opponent outplay you by building a ramp, you want to stand towards the center of the floor, place a cone at your feet so you start phasing, and then edit out all of the walls. What this will do is prevent your opponent from building as they fall and give you an easy kill. From their perspective, they'll be chilling in their 1x1 when out of nowhere they get chopped out and cannot build to protect themselves once they hit the floor. Just remember to phase through the cone early on before the edit, not to take the gamble by doing it after. Sound production. Next cone phase is probably the oldest one I can remember that allows you to phase in from the top of a 1x1. To pull it off, position yourself on top of your opponent's box, build one or two walls, and line up on whichever one you please. From there, break your opponent's cone while still up against the wall, and you'll end up phasing through it like this. Lastly, break through the floor and get an easy shot on your opponent. The reason this works is that your opponent won't realize you're phasing through the cone. They'll just keep on turbo building the cone without realizing you're already inside of it and trying to break the floor that's underneath. So if you somehow don't remember this from back in the day, hopefully it serves as a useful reminder. The last and final phasing trick of the video is a really unique cone phasing move you can use in box fights. How it works is as your opponent pressures your wall, you want to walk over to the bottom left side of your box, edit the back left tile of your cone up so you're under it, then reset and re-edit the top left tile of the cone up. This will let you phase through the cone exactly like you could with the stationary ramp phase. And just like with that trick, your opponent will get taken off guard by a cone phase they have never seen before in their life. So at least to me, there's truly no better way to finish off this video. Overall guys, those are all the best phasing techniques in Fortnite Battle Royale. I understand I left some of them out, especially the really unique ones I've covered in past videos, but these are all the most useful ones in my opinion. Let me know down below which was your favorite, as well as any new ones I should include in the future. On top of that, if you enjoyed the video, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code JERIAN. If you guys want to support me, remember to use it for the new season battle pass when that drops next week. A bunch of you use it every season, but you never let me know, so don't forget to do that too. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.